Hey, what's up, guys? Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and we have the 2 days too late weekend edition of the Pocket Change Market Report. So you're getting kind of a double deal here. You're getting the PCMR this morning ish on a Monday. It's actually August, whatever it is today, August 5th. I was actually going to drop this yesterday on Sunday, but things happen, life happens, but that's okay. You're getting this one. Monday market report is going to be sometime later this afternoon. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. It's going to be like an hour's worth of nonstop me talking. I really don't know how you guys are going to feel about that, but in any event, we're gonna talk a lot about the market here this week. We're gonna have three PCMRs, if you can believe that, dropping this week. We'll still have the Wednesday edition. We'll still have the weekend edition, which is sometime on Saturday. Bar anything going on there. But it's important that we know where we stand right now. We are in the pivotal kind of like waning days of the summer time. Overall, the minor error in variety market. When I mean minor, I mean kind of like what does some of the coins that traditionally sell for 10 to 50 bucks? What are they doing right now? And we have quite a nice list of coins to discuss that people have monetized. They've gone on eBay. They've done their work, putting up their listings. Um, and it's bearing some fruit, but you got to know what to look out for. One of the things, ladies and gentlemen, that is emerging out there right now, there are folks that are beginning to pursue this coin, is that brand new 2024 Patsy Takamoto, or Mink, I guess that's the name of it, quarter. A really significant doubled die has emerged on that coin, and we're going to talk about it here today. What are we looking for specifically? Number one. Number two, how much can you expect in this market, because it's such a new variety that it's hard to gauge how people feel about something when there's not a lot of them out there that has sold. It's kind of similar to the Extra V 2023 Lincoln Cents. At the very beginning, they were selling for like 5, 10, 15 bucks. But after a while, and after some discovery work and some research, that coin has embraced as being one of the big chase pieces just in the last 12 months. Could this new quarter be one of those? I'm telling you, it's quite dramatic, this thing. So we're going to take a look at it, along with just a host of other coins, a few other ground rules. We don't talk about graded coins. Typically, we want to keep it on the raw side. Raw means ungraded, uncertified. If you take great pictures, you find it right away, take a picture, put it up on eBay, and then do your thing. Buy now listing, 5-7 day list. Start it out at 99 cents, whatever you want to do. So, this is the speed to the market just by taking pictures and then posting it on the auction site. And second of all, the photos you're going to see here today are 100% original to these sellers' listings. So we didn't do anything special. We didn't juice or doctor any of these photos to make them look better, other than just cropping them so that way they fit onto the page that you're going to see here today. So like usual, we do have Whatnot shows this week. We got two of them. We got our Tuesday show and our Friday show. Tuesdays are typically our lower budget, kind of like blue collar shows, and they showcase a lot of great things. A lot of US type, some world coins could possibly be in there, paper money, and bullion. And these best represent coins that are going to start at $1, and then they will sell for however much they sell. There's been times where we've given away the occasional $11 Peace Dollar, or the $9 Morgan Dollar, or even the $15 Silver Eagle. I've basically seen it all, and at the end of the day, the peeps, they're getting their deals. So come check things out. It's one of my favorite go-to live auction platforms today. And I will have my referral link down below in the description box, and I'll have it pinned into the comment section of this video. Save yourself $15 on your first purchase, whatever that may be, either from me or one of the many hundreds of other sellers on the platform. Join up under me, you get $15 off. All right, pretty simple. Save yourself some money. And yeah, let's get to collecting, people. All right, so let's go ahead and check things out here. These are all listings from about the last 24 to 36 hours. So these are about as up to the minute as you will get on these. 1984D Lincoln Memorial Cent. This one is what they call a double struck error. So the secondary strike occurs when the coin doesn't really eject out of the striking chamber. You know, the coin will strike as normal once, and it'll just sit there. It'll probably shift or pop open. There might be a collar malfunction of sorts that'll help create this. But you can see here that this one is also what they call a uniface. So the secondary strike, which is about 75-80% off center, has some design on there of Lincoln's bust. But on the reverse of it, it's kind of blank. And how that happens is you have this struck coin overlapping a blank planchet. So the other planchet's trying to be fed into the striking chamber. Both pieces get struck at the same time, and then you're left with this dramatic effect. Now, this particular one here, and double struck coins generally sell for a pretty decent amount. This one was kind of a bargain at $19.86 with 6 bids. All right, I don't know. I mean, it could just be the time of the day, or maybe there is some sort of like summer effect at work here as to why a few of these coins didn't quite sell for as much, or maybe it's a very short duration listing, or maybe it's just offered up too cheap in the marketplace. You know, again, when you're selling on the platform, always do your research, find out what some of the previous sold items have sold for, and that's to give you more of a baseline of what you can expect to obtain from some of these pieces. This is one of those classic examples where a little bit extra research probably could have netted out a little bit more money. The next one that we have here, this is actually quite nice. A 1981p Jefferson nickel. This one was struck off center, so it's out of collar. It's about 60% off center. It's got a full readable date and mint mark, which are quite relevant to people that collect by date, and that's why I love about this hobby, is that there are a number of different ways that you could collect. There's no really a wrong way to collect. And this is a great example of that. You know, there are people that collect maybe by decade. They want one of every date of the 1980s in off-center strike. And it's going to represent a pretty nice conversational collection. This one right here, also a pretty good bargain at $15.97, 8 bids total. So these last two items were bid up organically. Maybe they were put on for a short duration, like a 1 day or a 3 day. You know, typically those particular listings won't get nearly enough face time on eBay, and therefore it's going to affect the overall ending sale price if they're put on too short. There are just some things that you can get away with doing that, like Silver Eagles, things that are very popular and progressive today. You know, I would probably put up as a 1 day auction, but keep in mind they are going to ding you $1 for that shorter duration time period for the fee. So if you could absolutely avoid it, I personally like 5 or 7 days on an auction. And pretty neat one here. Unfortunately, the coin does appear to be either polished or reprocessed, also known as replated. 1943 steel cent. If you look on the reverse on that left wheat stock, you can see a pretty sizable die crack that goes from the rim into the design and exits out into another part of the rim somewhere around the coin. These are commonly referred to as retained cut die breaks or pre-cuts. Now, some of the things that you want to look out for, obviously, are the two cracks that meet somewhere along the rim, and you're going to have some displacement too, so the design will look and appear a little bit shifted. That's how you know that the die had broken, and then there's a lot of play in that little piece that's still sticking in there. So this one right here sold for $26 with 6 bids. Pretty good considering its condition. Some would say it looks like it's in phenomenal shape, but it's a natural appearance really gives me a little cause to pause on this one. But a collector that's looking for this pre-cut, you know, they'll look at things like this because there's just not a lot of them on the secondary market. We also have a 1999 Lincoln Memorial set. Now, we saw a couple coins that underperformed, but I have to say that this one did a whole heck of a lot better compared to some of those other coins we've already looked at. This one is off center by about 10%. It's not a whole lot, and it's one of the more common dates to encounter in off center strikes and broad strikes. All right, it's just something about these dates, 99 to 2001, very common. And oftentimes, if you have a mint sealed bag from the Fed Reserve of these particular dates from 99 to 2001, there are quite a few of these that have escaped the mint in those bags. All right, so things like this, pretty easy to find, and that's why they're so common. This one ended up selling for $29.87 with 16 bids. So typically off-center 99s, yeah, I've seen sell for about 10, 15 bucks. This one did double that. It would have been really extraordinary if this was a wide AM variety. 99 is that date, you know, for wide AMs. That's going to be highly equitable, and it would have been cool just to see one on an off-center struck coin. I haven't seen one of those in a few years. Here's an 1885 Indian head cent. You notice kind of a thick rim on there. So the seller had mentioned that this one possibly could have been a little bit off-center. You know, it's close, or it could be an uncentered broad strike. So the collar obviously was not in place during the strike of this coin, so the metal flow, you know, has room to go outwards during that high-pressure strike. The coin is in phenomenal shape. Call it maybe a VF 35-ish kind of grade. You have full Liberty. You probably have 1.5 diamonds on the little ribbon right there. And it looks to have a repunch 1 in the date, you know, which there are quite a bit of repunched and misplaced date type punches on these coins. Pretty cool to see here. Nice sale at $68.95 with 18 bids. Quite attractive too. This is one of my favorite coins of the week. And Jefferson Nichols is one of the series that goes back about 15 years where you can honestly find some pretty crazy rotated die errors, like this one here. It's a 2016 Philadelphia with a rotated die that's counterclockwise about 75, 80 degrees, you know? So I know it's kind of cumbersome to flip every coin that you go through as you're hunting through these nickels to try and find one of these, but I guarantee you guys it's worth it. These things are very pricey. This particular one, for example, ended up selling for $75. And, you know, if you could tell me, hey, I just sold a 2016 P Jefferson nickel for $75, I would think you would be lying unless it's like a high-graded specimen. Because, you know, it's just, you know, the coins of the last 15, 20 years, they have a lot of time to go before they're actually worth something, you know. Age really does that to it. And not to mention that registry set grading is a thing these days. So people are looking for the highest grade specimens of nickels. But outside of grading, you know, when you get into actual just organically raw coins, you know, this is one of those things that really pushes the value to the next level. 1983 P Jefferson nickel. We've seen a few off-center strikes. How about a broad strike? This one is very well centered. Looks to be that it has full steps too, which is really cool looking. Just a really nice, well-hammered strike on this one. No collar present, so all that metal flow stretches outwards. This one sold for, let's see, $21.38 with 4 bids. So that's quite a nice little value on this one. Keep in mind, and I know people have asked me, well, what's the likelihood that you could find some of these in circulation? Well, not too well, but the other opportunity to find these is going to be at coin shows and coin shops. Those bargain bins are rife with coins like this that people are trying to move. Those dealers are trying to eliminate these from their inventory for about $5 to $10. So you could, again, you got to spend money to make money. We have to understand that. You find these and they can just pop up out of the blue. All right, that's what I love about this hobby, and that's what I love about going to the show circuit, is that there's a lot of opportunity to cherry pick something that you could flip, especially if you don't need it in your collection. We also have this 1942D. This is a Type 1. You can see the mint mark is to the right of the memorial on the reverse, or Monticello. Outside of the fact that this is a little bit of a ragged clip, this is a really tough date. You know, if this was a non-bit error example, I mean, this is a coin that typically sells for about $60 to $80 raw, because it's so tough to find in high mint state grades like this one. But with the mint error, that ragged clip, $31.25 with 4 bids. It's a nice, neat little piece. Some would say, well, I prefer not to have the clip on there. I just rather have the key date into my collection. You know, you're splitting a few crowds here with this coin, but overall, it's just a neat piece. It's just on a 42D Type 1. You know, it could be an unfortunate thing, but at the same time, there are error lovers that would take this in a heartbeat. First piece of currency comes in the way of a 1981 $20 bill. Okay, that overprint is pretty well shifted to the right and a little bit down there. So misaligned print is a thing out there. It's even found on much newer notes that are being made today. So always be on the lookout for these. This one is a really nice example. I'd probably say it's a solid maybe VF35 XF40 caliber note. Sold for $148.95. We also have a 1954 S over S repunch mint mark. This is actually a good one, and I've found a fair amount of these. Lincoln Wheat Cent. This is RPM number 4, and this one shows a secondary S mint mark that's punched north of the primary mint mark. You can see that extra curl, that top curl of the S right there, that's overlapping. Again, quite stunning. Not a high value piece because it's not a cherry picker's guide variety. $7.95 was your final sale on this one. And for all you half-dollar roll hunters, you know who you are, and those folks still exist out there in great numbers, in spite of the fact that, you know, finding a silver half-dollar is not as easy today as it once was. How about looking for the secondary stuff? Like, this coin is considerably weak in strike, especially on that obverse. Struck through grease is what we have here. There was a lot of grease on that obverse die during the strike of the coins, which will obliterate a lot of design details, especially toward the edge of the coin. This one right here, ladies and gents, a pretty nice sale. Again, we're looking for coins like this and not necessarily silver. $57.87, 22 total bids. So people were waiting around for this coin to end, and at the last moments, people were just throwing in bids. And, you know, $57 later, you know, it turned out to be a much richer coin than I'm sure a lot of people that roll hunt would anticipate. We also have this one here. This is a dual error. We have a little bit of a misaligned print in addition to a miscut. So yeah, the registration on this one wasn't quite jiving during the printing process. I mean, look how screwed up the front of the note is. And then on the reverse, you can tell also that the center of the reverse print's quite a bit shifted downwards toward the bottom of the note. So that's probably more contributed to the miscut, but the overprint, you know, doesn't quite align with all the other printings. This particular one right here ended up selling for $93.98. Quite a good sale, 14 bids, and the note is in great shape. Again, XF40, 45, you know, is probably well within the realm of the grade on this one. And this one here, this, you know, kind of represents some of the struggles that people have about, you know, taking good coin photography. Lighting is number one. This one right here probably doesn't have the best lighting, and the coin was taken far enough away where it made it incredibly out of focus, especially when you're trying to crop around it and then blow it up so that way they mate together perfectly. But it's a 1971. There is a mint mark there. We don't know what it is. It could be a Denver or a San Francisco. Struck through a late stage cap die. All right, so there was actually a coin stuck to the obverse face die or the hammer die in the press The reverse is very well struck, so that coin probably had struck a bunch of other coins to the point that whatever design was left over on that capped die, or that die cap, is pretty well thinned out, to the point where this is your final end product here. $16.46, 13 bids, which is quite a bit of a discount. I've seen a lot of these sell in that $30 to $40 range, and you know, it might be just poor photography. You know, it has you know, put a little bit of a doubt in folks' minds when they're out bidding for things like this. You know, I don't know. And not to mention that the actual listing title did not specify struck through capped die. Again, people are kind of like second guessing if this is what they think it is because it doesn't say it on the listing title. Again, this is where research really comes to be an important factor here. Our next piece of currency is a non-colorized $96 $20 bill. Very nice to see. Normally we see these without the green seal on it. This one has it. It's got regular, normal serial numbers. It's not fancy or anything like that. But anyways, you wouldn't notice anything looking at the front of the note until you turn it over. And then there is an unprinted swath there on the left side of the note. Someone or the seller had mentioned that this was a gutter fold, but when you look at the reverse of the note and that part that would normally be stretched out to reveal the unprinted portion of the note, this is a regular size note. Normally when it accordions out, it'd be a lot longer. This one is like perfectly fine. So I think what we have here is probably an obstruction print. All right, so something was on the sheet. It could have been a long strip of paper and then it was printed over, so when you remove that obstruction, or it could be a piece of tape, it's going to reveal an unprinted section of the note, which is what we have here. So this particular note right here ended up selling for $118.50 with 23 bids. One thing I do notice, if you look at it where it says the E and the and U and United, you can actually see embossing there. All right, so there can be embossing without there being any print because there was a strip of paper sitting on top of it or whatever it was. 1982 large date bronze with a nice size cut die break over the word trust. You know, we're not trusting this coin. I don't know if you call it the trustless Lincoln cent. I know when there's a cut over the word God, they call it the godless penny. So they have kind of like their nicknames. This one right here, a piece of the die had fallen off eventually, all right? And it leaves an empty cavity in the die. That's where all the metal flow goes in during the strike, thereby creating this raised blobby anomaly. This one sold for $61, and that's a pretty good amount of money considering the overall condition of the cent is nothing that I would say is too crazy, but otherwise pretty cool to see. 1977 $5 Fed Reserve note. Yeah, the overprint is upside down. All right, and that happens too when the sheet is fed upside down. You know, in the printing area on the impression cylinder, it will print the overprint upside down. Yeah, so yeah, that's what we have here on this one. These are typically like holy grails of paper money error collectors. Anything with like inverted print, either on the front, either it could be the first, second, or third process of the printing. It could be an inverted back. It could be, you know, just overprint printed on the back, things like that. These are quite collectible, and even in this condition right here, which, boy, man, this thing's rough. If a bank would have gotten a hold of this, they would have kept it and probably destroyed it. Ended up selling for only $478.48. 30 total bids. So there was a lot of people very interested in this note. Nice, crispy, uncirculated types of this typically sell for nearly 2x this amount. One of my favorites, I love trying to find these. They're not as easy anymore. 1894 over 1894 repunch date. Indian head cent. This is, I think, Snow 1 in the attributions. It's also a cherry picker's guide variety. So you can see the doubling in the 9 and the top of the 4 there. Really quite strong. And even a coin like this that has the questionable coloring issues on the coin and it still ended up selling for $59.95. We also have this beautiful Washington quarter. We actually had one of these on the last show that had two cuds on the obverse. This one is just the singular cud that covers an entire date. Boy, these things are awesome. But, you know, they're actually more common than you guys believe. So always be on the lookout for these. This one right here sold for $100.55, you know. So yeah, still a lot of value here. This one even has some Clash dies. You can see it on the back of Washington's head and on the bridge of his nose. And again, poor pictures probably led to a really big smoke and sale. 1972 Lincoln Memorial Cent with the infamous FS101 doubled die obverse. Okay, really the only part on this coin that looks like the FS101 is the motto, "In God We Trust." Look how crazy it is. Again, this is a coin that was photographed far away. So again, when I cropped it and then combined them together, they have to blow it up onto the screen that you see here. So that's why it's quite a bit out of focus. The lighting is just okay, but you know, we're trying to highlight the biggest part about this coin, and that's the variety itself. And the fact that there were no close-ups of the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust really means that this person did not trust their photography skills in doing that. So you got to know, this one did sell for a discount at $225.99. This is a coin still today that routinely in AU condition like this one still sells in excess of $400. And it's been a minute since we talked about our good old Lowell National Park quarter with the infamous earring on George Washington's ear right there. I mean, this is very well known. Some say it's a die chip. Some say it's something else. It's been talked about probably more so after it's been found 5 years ago. But today, not many people are really talking about it. So if you do come across these, this one did sell for $18.99. I actually have a really nice example of this same very coin right here. And they're just neat, you know, even if we never find out exactly how this happened, I think they're probably one of the neatest kind of coincidental oddities that I have personally seen. And yeah, how about we talk about the sealed market for a second? All right, so it's not nearly as simple as finding BU rolls of Lincoln cents anymore, especially coming from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. There are certain dates that are, I'm not going to say untouchable, but you will be paying dearly for. 72p is a good one. 60D large date is another one that scares some people. This is a 68S. There's not a lot to look for here. A couple minor repunchment marks. There might be a minor double to die, but you know, outside of that, people do search through these for those high-end specimens that they could grade for a registry. But most importantly, people are doing the whole sealed equity bit. They're actually buying these and just holding on to them. This one right here, just again, a direction of where the market is heading. $39.90 with 16 bids on this one singular roll that just recently you could have bombed for like $5 a piece. You might still get those kind of deals out there, but ladies and gents, that needle's moving in a huge way as people are starting to hoard these, and there's less of them out there to be found. Here, this is, you know, a big cherry picker's guide variety, 56D over D RPM. It's the FS501. Whoops. Yeah, didn't even put the close up. That's okay, but because you could see the double D mint mark on beneath the date there. The secondary Denver mint mark is punched west of the primary on this one. It sold for $23.58. It's very common to look out for, but still very dramatic when you do see it. Let's see. This might be our last piece of currency for the day. 1977A $1 bill. Again, a pretty crazy, dramatic, misaligned overprint. You can see the second set of serial number is overlapping America. And when it gets that bad, you know this thing is crazy. So this note here is just, it's a banger, crispy, uncirculated example. Yeah, I'm losing my train of thought right now because all the stuff has been awesome this week. How about this for a sale? $445, 130 bids. There were a lot of people that were kind of like taking small bites on this one. You know, probably all throughout, you know, the 5 or 7 days that this one was made available. It is quite cool because the misalignment is a little bit tilted as well when you look at it. So the sheet was slightly rotated when all this kind of happened. Yeah, but pretty nice, man. Always look out for these. You can find them in circulation, but you know, you might find one that's underpriced at a coin shop. Actually, believe it or not, guys, this is my listing right here. You know, so I had this 1944S slightly off-center Lincoln wheat cent. It's actually a coin that's in pretty nice shape. You know, it's got a contact mark on the N and 1 on the reverse. Outside of that, you know, it's a peach. But it is a earlier kind of iteration of a mint error that people really are looking for. They're looking for those earlier wheat cent dates. I had this one up on here. Didn't think it would be like a huge seller, but $37.80 with 17 bids is what this one ended up as. And I think I'm pleased with that, you know. And you guys know me. I don't showcase a lot of the coins that I do sell because they fall on days that don't coincide with the PCMR data. But this one did, you know. So there you go. You know, it's one of Blue Ridge's, you know, bangers right there, I guess. And then the last item, of course, we got to talk about Miss Mink and the possibilities that is. So there is a Variety Vista newly attributed doubled die obverse that was found on it, and it is quite impressive. It's VDDO number 1 is what it's attributed as, and it's only found on Philadelphia 2024 Mink quarters. So when we look at this, and there's even a little bit of attribution on there from Variety Vista's website that was included in these seller listings. Yeah, some pretty dramatic doubling on the date. So when you look at this one, the coin in question that's being sold, I believe, is on the top there. You can see the doubling across all the digits of the date, the first two especially. But what I did not include, and you guys can go check this out on Variety Vista's website, is that there's all sorts of doubling all throughout the coin. In God We Trust, or as some of you call it, in COD We Trust, which is nothing. That is nothing. That's just the type style of, you know, what they used on the front of the coin. Yeah, there's a lot of great doubling and notching and splits on this particular variety. This is an incredible piece. Now, it's very early on. There's been only maybe a couple of them that have sold, and, you know, the word hasn't quite gotten out there yet. It might after this video. This one only sold for $18. All right, and keep in mind that that story about the Extra V 2023, the first few, only sold for like $5-10 as an oddity. You know, even before it was attributed as being something by Mike Diamond, and then we have this one that's a fresh attribution on Variety Vista. Might actually end up being one of the big premier chase finds of 2024. We will see, but this one is out there. Keep an eye out for it. For you folks there east of the Mississippi, this is a banging variety. A very nice one, too. All right, well, that's going to go ahead and do it for the day. Information provided is for educational use only, not financial advice at all. Please do grade and or collect responsibly. I am counting on you guys to do it right because that's how you will grow. That's how you will build a secondary business that will only continue to get better in time. I know a few people have gotten started and have just hit the ground running, and they're having fun, and they're cashing in checks. So well done, guys. Thank you all for watching. Again, we'll be on live this week on a Tuesday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on Whatnot, with more great showings of coins that you will love. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to today's content if you haven't done so already. And that's it. I am out of here. Time to get my day started and time to find some more great stuff that we could talk about on a future show. So best of luck in your hunts. Have fun and enjoy the hobby. I will see you next time.